Does this sound familiar? You got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle. And a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called Directv Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows like Survivor all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part? There's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with Directv Stream. You can learn more at directv.com. That's DIRECTV.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Steppin on the beach, the only place to read your emails and your tweets. It's No Dunks back here in the Classic Factory, Wednesday, February 2nd, still. I'm J.E. Skeets, alongside me, as always, Tess Mellis.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, Tessie. We still got our top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey-yo.
Hey-yo. The international man of mystery, taking it to the Max Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last, certainly not least, making the magic happen. You may have seen him on Degrassi Junior High. JD.
Hello.
There he is. And here we are. Shout out to the stream teamers, especially you sickos joining us for the second time today, live on YouTube. Please take a second to like the video, make sure you're subscribed, and later on, share the show with your friends. This is our first Beach Steppin' episode since October 19th. NBA opening night. No. We've sprinkled in a lot of Beach Steppin' cues throughout many of our daily shows, but man, we haven't done this in a while. I checked, though. On that show, I said, quote, we generally do these about once a week. Yeah. You know, we started having Survivor podcasts, a bunch of other fun content here. So, again, we were just adding your questions to a bunch of our daily shows, but not today, Tess. We have so many great questions, so we've got a separate Beach Steppin' podcast.
Too much creativity in the bones. We couldn't just do beach every week.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Change it up.
But keep your questions coming. Send them in. NBA, non-NBA questions alike. Email them to nodunks@theathletic.com or tweet them in @NoDunksInc, or you can leave them in the YouTube comments below this vid. All right, let's get to it. First one. Greetings, No Dunks crew. Statues. Does LeBron become the first player to earn multiple statues across the states? Undoubtedly, he gets one in Cleveland. And Miami has got to put one up, right? What about in LA? He fits the superstar legacy of all their other statues.
What about this city?
All the best from the other side of the pond, where we wished our Wordles had U's. It's from Matthew. The interesting part of that first question, like the real question here, does LeBron become the first player to earn multiple statues across the states? Is there someone in England or Australia or somewhere else in the world, some athlete that has multiple statues? It was that states part that got
No, I couldn't find one. I did some digging on statues.
Did you?
Yeah. And it's interesting, actually. A very interesting question.
Well, all right.
Because
we started the show with it.
There's not as many people have statues as I thought there were. I thought sort of everyone kind of had one. Not
What?
Everyone.
I mean,
What do you
every basketball team had something like that, but they don't. There's only 21 that I counted. Most of them are in Los Angeles.
You're talking about NBA teams.
Yes.
That there are 21 statues.
That's what I counted. I mean, there's a few different descriptions out there anyway. But the Miami Heat don't have any.
Right.
They don't have now, but they have retired numbers, of course. They've retired Chris Bosh. I mention him because obviously LeBron will get his retired when he retires in Miami. But the Heat don't have any statues, so I'm not sure they automatically give him one. I mean, if anyone, I think Wade's probably first in line there in Miami.
Yeah.
And then,
but you're saying because the organization just doesn't do it.
Exactly. They haven't done that, and Cleveland the same. They don't have any now. Cleveland, he should get one. Surely he's going to get one there. But his relationship with the front office and the ownership there hasn't been good with Dan Gilbert over the years. Dan Gilbert should have learned, hopefully, from his awful Comic Sans letter. Okay, we've got to honour LeBron James. I mean, he brought a championship here under the most incredible circumstances. So he certainly deserves on there. As for LA, I don't think there's any chance he's getting one in LA unless he was to go on and win multiple championships.
Okay.
He's won
So
one championship.
Okay.
He missed the playoffs and he was out in the first round. And he's probably not looking much better than first round this season for the playoffs as well. So I don't think he matches up. He's saying there he fits the superstar legacy of their other statues, Magic, Jerry West, Kobe.
Shaq.
I don't think so in terms of his LA time so far. One championship. And, you know, it's not, I mean, it's the bubble championship. Some say it's the hardest one. Some say it doesn't really count. Whichever way you want to say it. I don't think the Lakers are giving him one right now. As I say, more championships, it's in the conversation. Right now, it's not. So LeBron should get one absolutely in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to get one. I just don't think the Heat do it, really. So I think he might only end up with one.
I think players generally are tied to one franchise when it comes to a statue. It's one man, one statue. That should be the rule. You can't have statues in multiple cities. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. It's different than getting a jersey retired, which is rare to have a guy get his jersey retired in multiple cities. I just think it's... lame isn't the right word. I think it's a little bit, it's reaching. If you're the second city, if you're Miami and he's got one in Cleveland, or you know he's going to get one in Cleveland, it's, even though they'll retire Wayne Gretzky's jersey in Miami, it's unbecoming. I wouldn't do it. Right. If I was the franchise, I would say, you know, the guys who fit that criteria are the Dirks, usually the guys who stay with the team with one franchise. For their entire career. Now, I get what you're saying, LeBron, Cleveland, I get it. Maybe he'll have a statue in nearby Akron as well. You know, we went through Charles Barkley's hometown of Leeds, Alabama. He's got one there. But as far as like a franchise goes, I don't think you duplicate somebody else's. I just don't.
You're saying specifically if like the Cavs say, okay, we're building LeBron a statue for what he did for this organization.
The Cavs don't even have to say it. I think if he gets one there, Miami just shouldn't.
Right.
He spent 4 years there. You don't have the right to build a statue when another team is going to build it. You know, like and some teams do it. So it's not universal. It's not like you retire a jersey in 30 different arenas, which some teams haven't even done that yet. Right. But yeah, statues aren't across the board a universal thing. So I think we're writing the rules now as we say that because a lot of teams don't. How many teams did you find don't? Probably at least half.
Yeah, more. Yeah.
So I think we're one man, one statue is the rule, I think, for me. I think that's reasonable. It's like one streak, one season. You can't have a streak
I like that.
span 2 seasons.
I like branding it like that.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson does have 2 statues. He's got one at Michigan State as well. There are people that have one for their professional accomplishments and their amateur accomplishments. Sure. That's happened quite a few times. I'm with you. I think Cleveland is a guarantee he's going to build a statue as fast as they can build one as soon as they retire. Probably arms out, the witness kind of pose, him throwing the chalk in the air. And I think Miami will build Wade a statue whenever they decide to build a statue. Probably him standing on a table celebrating, arms straight up rather than out. Like LeBron, would you consider it a statue, however, if they built LeBron a bust inside of the stadium?
I would.
Yeah.
I think they can do that. I mean, I think that's a fair one. The guy won 2 titles there. Some MVPs.
4 seasons, though, so quick.
4 seasons of them being one of the most famous and talked about and best teams in NBA history, though. And he's one of the all-time greats. Like you're saying, they've retired Dan Marino's number. They retired Michael Jordan's number. They like to honor legends. LeBron is a Heat legend, even if he's not the Heat legend. I think he'll give him a bust inside. It's like a statue, but not quite a statue. But it's still better than just a jersey retirement.
Okay.
Yeah, and those were the definitions you were going through when you were looking. There are busts
Yeah.
Like Ronaldo's face, that's not a statue. That's a bust.
Yeah. Someone in the stream team's telling me George Best, the football legend, the soccer icon, has one in Northern Ireland, where he's from, Belfast, and Manchester United.
Maybe that's what Matthew is alluding to.
Yeah. But I mean, Shaq, for example, had his number retired in obviously Los Angeles and Miami. And there are other guys who have had that.
Yeah.
Pistol Pete.
Yeah, but the statue is different. I just wonder, do the Heat go with like the Heatles and make maybe a three-piece with Bosch and Wade, or do they just say Wade first and then something with LeBron and then leave Bosch out? I mean, Bosch wants Bosch. Well, the reason I say that, Bosch wants the three of them immortalized in bronze, which is understandable. He's saying that because he thinks otherwise he might not make the cut.
Okay, and do you agree with what he was saying about the LA portion of this? That they're not going to be building one for LeBron unless he gets another title, maybe even two. Is that
one more title, or I would accept an MVP award, a league MVP award, one more of the top honors in the NBA world, and I think that maybe he does get a statue there just because he kind of fits the profile of an LA statue. I see people are also saying, I don't know if this is true, I think it is, though, Wayne Gretzky has 2 statues.
Okay.
Edmonton and the LA Kings.
Wow. LA will give a statue to anybody.
So LeBron then? I mean, LeBron and Wayne Gretzky, honestly, kind of similar careers. I think that's a player that LeBron should be compared to more. Just saying, I mean, Wayne Gretzky kind of bounced around to a bunch of teams trying to get titles at the end of his career, right? After solidifying himself as the great one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he got the title before leaving his first team.
Right.
So it was a little different in terms of the chronological part of it, but they bounced. He was a Seattle Blue, St. Louis Blue.
The final question off all the statues talk, because you said you did a bunch of research. You have a favorite statue?
Favorite statue? Yeah. Well, I like the Shaq one where he is like it's the old Reebok logo of him, really, with the legs
hanging off the rim, legs up.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I also did a little bit more. I was like, I wonder who's most likely, if anyone, to get 2 statues in the NBA.
Okay.
All right. This is not going to happen, but this is a guy I think has actually got a decent case. I think Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Because he could get one in Minnesota. That's where we sort of, sentimentally remember him.
Sounds like it's coming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And
he might have to pay for it.
If he chips in $100 million.
But then, of course, he did go and win a championship there with the Celtics, their only championship in the last 30 years. So I don't think he gets one in Boston, but there's no one else who's really got a strong case for 2 teams.
It's hard to do.
I don't know. I know there's a Red Auerbach statue in Boston. Is there like a Larry Bird statue?
Yes, Larry Bird's got one.
Okay,
yes.
So they do statues.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Larry's, obviously his entire career there.
Yeah, for a streaky shooter like Larry Bird.
I know. Yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah. But I was thinking, again, Kevin Durant's not going to get one, but he's had the long time there, put the OKC Thunder on the map. Then he won the 2 championships in Golden State. If they were to idolize, statuize him. It's not going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying these are the sort of people I'm trying to find the strongest case for. Okay. But there's not really anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to be a franchise guy for multiple teams, but I agree, Wade will get one, even though you're allowed to bounce around afterwards and still get a statue.
Totally, yeah.
That's legal. All right, let's get to some trade deadline talk here. 8 days away. Hey, guys. I've been a Bucks fan for almost 15 years, and with all this Myles Turner trade talk, I've been surprised that no one has talked about Turner going to Milwaukee. I think he'd be a great fit since he and Brook Lopez have similar skill sets, both offensively and defensively. With Brook being injured, and for that matter, getting quite old, do you believe the Bucks could try to get Turner in a deal centered around Brook Lopez and picks? Big love from Northern Sweden. Thank you, Lucas, for that email. Great stuff from Northern Sweden.
I almost picked Sweden when we did our Winter Olympics squad as my host city. Just so you know that, Lucas, I was thinking about you.
Nice.
Specifically in Northern Sweden.
Yeah, there were some people out there asking, why didn't anyone pick Sweden?
Yeah.
We simply didn't.
Yeah.
I've never been.
We should have, man.
Winters in Sweden. Sound beautiful.
Myles
Turner.
Yeah,
I like it, man. I like this trade. Nobody's talking about it. why don't we start talking about it? Because I actually agree that the Bucks need another center.
You've said that.
Yeah, I've said it a few times. I think that they don't win the title last year without Brook Lopez, and I don't even think they're the favorites in the East this season without Brook Lopez, just because playing center is a hard thing to do and nobody wants to do it. You know, Anthony Davis gets a ton of flack for not wanting to play center because it's a physical position. Giannis doesn't really want to play center either, and that guy is jacked and, you know, one of the toughest, strongest guys in the league, but playing center is just a different thing. I don't think that Myles Turner is a perfect substitute for Brook Lopez because Brook Lopez, I think, is a lot stronger and a lot better boxing out than Myles Turner is, which is something I think that really helps the Bucks. But he does protect the rim, which kind of gives Giannis a chance to freelance and roam, which is his strength, and he can stretch the court, which gives Giannis that space inside. I would like a little bit more rebounding because the Bucks, that is an area that they've definitely fallen off this season. They've gotten up to 13th in defensive rebound rate, but they've been like a top 5 defensive rebound rate team over the past few seasons with Budenholzer there coaching. That's one of their greatest defensive strengths. So I like the idea of trying to acquire another big guy. Myles Turner would be a great one. It wouldn't be a big role for him, which I know is something he's looking for, but also playing into the finals would be pretty cool for him. So gonna have to... You know, you can either be a number 1 guy on a bad team or you can be the number 5 guy on a team that has a chance at the championship. That being said, it's going to be hard for the Bucks to get anybody that's a big name because they traded a whole bunch of picks for Drew Holiday back in the day.
Yeah.
That worked out, but just means they don't have a lot of assets left to move around.
Yeah, like what would it be here, in theory, trying to put a deal together for Myles Turner? It would be it could be Brook, of course, included in the deal. Dante DiVincenzo, Nwora, and then draft compensation. But like you said, there's not all that juicy, or at least not immediate for a team like the Pacers, that if they're blowing it all up or rebuilding here, that you're going to be like, we want some juicier picks than that. So I think it's difficult.
Yeah, I don't see what the Pacers would want from the Bucks roster. That's the problem. And they've given up all their Drew Holiday picks. They've given up pick swaps.
Yeah.
So it would be, not all that appealing, I don't think, for the Pacers.
Yeah.
They need Brook Lopez back. I totally agree. And maybe if you're a Bucks fan, you look at the fact that they released DeMarcus Cousins in a positive light, in that maybe Brook Lopez comes back, or in another positive light that they wanted another roster spot open because they've got their eyes on somebody else, or they're waiting for somebody to get dropped. Right. But I don't see Myles, even though he'd be great. I think the Pacers are going to be looking for a young player coming back. And I don't think it's Nwora. I don't think it's DiVincenzo. I think they hope it's somebody better than that.
What do you think, Lee?
The Bucks went all in with Drew Holiday. They needed him, and it worked. It paid off, so it was worth it. But now they are at that point where their margin for error is like, we really haven't got anything to play with. So this is the problem now. If they don't get Brook back, they need someone. They tried Boogie Cousins. He wasn't actually too bad for them, but he wasn't quite the right fit. So if they could somehow pull off a deal to get Turner, I think they'd do it in 2 seconds. It's just, what's the reason for Indiana just saying, here, have a good young athletic player who sort of help you out and give us the scraps that you've got left over. That's it. So it won't happen, but yes, it would be a nice little addition there for the Bucks.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a level or 2 down from Myles Turner, though, if the Bucks get a backup big here, or a center that they could plug and play. Like we threw out, is there a possibility they could get Mo Bamba from the Magic, or some other names that I'm forgetting. Maybe like Nerlens Noel or something, like a defensive-minded guy that can give you minutes at the center position that can help you in the playoff series. And that'll cost you a lot less than trying to get Myles Turner from the Pacers. I think we'll all agree with that. All right, another question here. Hey, No Dunks. My Chiefs pulled off an amazing comeback 2 weeks ago versus the Bills, but the performance will be quickly forgotten because KC didn't make the Super Bowl. What are some amazing NBA playoff performances that we don't remember because they didn't go on to win the chip? Thanks. That's from Keaton. That's a fun question. Lee, these type of questions are right in your wheelhouse, man.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, so I looked at this from a team perspective, not an individual, because he says my Chiefs. So he didn't sort of specify,
Fair.
The player. So
so teams that maybe had like a really good win or two, series win or two, but didn't go on to win the title, and they're forgotten a bit.
Yeah, and I'm going back to 2001. It was the Milwaukee Bucks back then. They had the big 3. Ray Allen, Sam Cassell, and the big dog, Glenn Robinson. They took care of the Magic in the first round pretty easily, 3-1. Then they had the Charlotte Hornets in the second round. They were up 2-0, down 3-2, came back to win that one in 7, and then they played the Philadelphia 76ers in the Eastern Conference Finals. That one also went 7. They led that series 2-1 and dropped it in 7 there to the Sixers. But Ray Allen was incredible in that series. He was awesome as it goes anyway, but in that series, in the playoffs in particular, he played 18 games, 25 points a game, 48% from the field, 48% from 3. Also had the 6 assists and a steal and a half a game there. And I remember he had some big games. He had 41, I think, in Game 6 there that took it to 7, and they lost to Allen Iverson. I think he had a big one in Game 7 there. And Ray Allen even got fined $50,000 afterwards, said the NBA wanted the Sixers in the finals, not us. But, if you remember, of course, Vince Carter knocks in that shots against the Sixers. It's a Raptors-Bucks Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Now, no one's beating the Lakers that
I was going to say, to go on and get hammered by the Lakers, but still.
But that would have, I think the Raptors could have beaten the Bucks, of course, but the Bucks could have made it to the finals back there in 2001. Not long after that team got sort of broken up, Gary Payton gets traded to the Bucks for Ray Allen. They broke it up, but that was a really good team. A fun team to watch.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's a great one.
Got any others?
I
thought you had a list.
Well, Gilbert Arenas, as in terms of like iconic playoff series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he had a couple of those years. No, that was the one that I went deep on anyway.
Okay.
I'll piggyback because those years that Gil was hot and then injuries took him out. Similar guy, Brandon Roy. In those years, you're drafted in 06, Rookie of the Year, and then injuries took him down. And the playoff experience with Brandon Roy, it peaks after a couple of years, but I'd forgotten about his first one. 2009 was his first foray into the playoffs. Blazers Rockets, he had a 42-point game in Game 2. They lost. And then even after that, the injuries started taking a toll immediately. Next year they went to the playoffs, but he was injured to start the series against the Suns, came back in Game 4. 4, 5, 6, the Blazers lost again, first round. And then 2011, this is only his 5th year in the league. He was already a shell of himself. He wasn't playing heavy minutes, and so people were rooting for him. Like, it looked like this guy was a Hall of Famer, but all of a sudden the injuries took their toll. So in this series against the Mavs, he had one final moment, which is wild to say in year 5 for the guy. But in Game 4, the Blazers were down 18 points going into the fourth quarter. It was 67-49, a real low scoring one. And then Brandon Roy came out to play the 10-minute mark. He hit a layup, and then a couple minutes later, he hit another shot, and then a couple minutes later, he hit another shot. He's playing all 12 minutes. He hit another shot, and then he hit another shot. Then he hit a 3-and-1. Sean Merriam fouled him with 1 minute left. It was still a tie game, still enough time for Brandon Roy to make his mark. Then he hit that jumper with 39 seconds left. They won it. It was an 18-point fourth quarter for Brandon Roy, and that was the career, really. He retired the next season, just after 5 years. And he made a little bit of a comeback with the T-Wolves for a cup of coffee, but 5 years, looking great. And that was his best playoff performance. Just didn't have a lot of opportunities. He never won a playoff series, which is surprising.
I was just going to ask that. Yeah, did they ever go to the second round even?
Nope.
Wow.
Not with B-Roy.
Okay.
Not until Dame came around and banged home that shot on Chandler Parsons. That's it.
In your face.
Did you go with the team angle to this or individual playoff performance, or both?
I went with a player, Kawhi Leonard. Remember when he averaged 27, 8, and 5 during the 2017 playoffs? His last playoff run with the Spurs, 53% from the field, 45 from 3. But the only thing you really remember, he stepped on Zaza Pachulia's foot. And that was the end of his run with the Spurs there. And the Spurs were really good that season, too. I think they were 61-21 heading into the playoffs. Obviously, the Warriors were the Warriors. But it felt like the Spurs had him on the ropes. Kawhi was at 26 points, 11 for 11 from the free throw line in that game. Stepped on his foot. Never healed right.
Yeah.
That was the end in San Antonio for Kawhi Leonard. But, man, he was on a roll that season. That was the year it was like between Harden and Westbrook, and Kawhi Leonard was in the mix as well for MVP. So that was a good one.
Awesome. Fun question there, Keaton. Let's hear from the stream team out there. I know you've got answers to that. Forgotten playoff performances, either on the individual side of things or the team that they came up a little bit short and maybe they just overlooked.
Sorry to interrupt you. Trey adapting there, and an adaptogen, because I saw you had written down the Iverson 2001 playoffs, but
an adaptogen right there.
but yeah, Lee kind of commented on it, but still, I think it was different because I was waiting for you to do it, and then I was going to talk specifically about the Raps Sixers series in 2001
But
because there's back and
that's
forth.
interesting to me because I kept coming up with I thought answers to this, and I'm like, no, they're memorable. We actually talk about that series or that play, like Iverson 2001.
All right, let me give you some
you
stats
forget
here.
some
That
But I'm sure it's
I got two good ones
incredible.
for you.
Okay.
Exactly. I think you maybe forget how good these two players were in losing causes. Iverson in 2001 went over 40 points per game 6 times heading to the finals, went over 50 twice against the Raptors.
Yeah.
In the finals, he averaged 35.5 points a game, including 48 in game 1.
Okay.
You remember the step over,
course.
you remember Iverson's incredible run, and then the Lakers winning, but man, he was really good. The other guy I had, Charles Barkley in the 93 finals, 27 per game, 13 rebounds, 5 assists on 48% from the field. He had 3 big beefs in 24 playoff games that year. The finals are honestly ridiculous. 42 points, 13 rebounds in game 2. Except Michael Jordan had 42, so the Bulls won. Game 4, Barkley goes for 32, 12, and 10. MJ goes for 55. He also threw in a 24-19 game and a 21-17 game. You just ran into the wrong team to play, man. Like, the numbers are crazy for Barkley in the finals, but wasn't even the best player in the finals.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
It's almost it's like a silly argument when people are like, well, he never won a ring. He never got a ring. It's like, yeah, but come on, like that's a ring against any other team almost in NBA history almost.
If
But
they
it's
could
against
score,
Jordan.
I think they couldn't score in the last 2 minutes of that game as well, Game 6. And Barkley's talked about that because they talk about how the breakdown defensively leads to the John Paxson 3. But the plays before that, the Suns just couldn't score. And that's really, I think, the problem is they could have just put it out of reach, but Chicago hung around, and then like it was with the Jazz, really, in Game 6 in '98 there, same sort of thing. Jazz had a chance, led, couldn't score, Bulls killed them.
All right. Good stuff. I'm glad we got to those. Those are some crazy numbers there from AI and CB. We're going to take our first break. When we come back...
CB.
Yeah, as everybody calls them. When we come back, it'll be JETM, TK, and Old LE here talking more and answering your questions. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, well, look, for better or worse, probably worse, I've become a coffee snob over the last few years. So much so that I turn my nose up at most coffee if the beans aren't grinded right in front of me. That's how I am now. You and me are different in our coffee indulgence in the morning. How do you like it?
Yeah, you're a prick. I'm not.
No, but how you just rush out, pour it down my throat, don't you? You're an impatient coffee drinker.
Yeah.
Well, I think you need to change. I think you need to come to the good side.
Yeah, no, somebody has to work on the show and put a couple hours of work in. You can just
Listen,
show
man,
up.
I can do mine. I can do mine because while mine's getting ready, it takes about 10 minutes. So that's where
very nice. That's where you're making your Knicks notes. No Cam Reddish.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I love a good old whiff of my grinded beans before I put them in to extract. It smells great. And the whole process.
So just to confirm, you said I like a good old whiff of my grinded beans.
Yes. Try it, man.
Can you give us an impression of that?
Well, you got the little cup there, you know, after you're grinding, then you're like, it's great. Great.
Thank you.
Because, look, my
Cut that, JD. Cut that.
great. My whole coffee making process in the morning takes about 10 minutes, but it's worth it. Okay, and this is why I think you should at least consider it because, you feel those 10 minutes, right? And now it's going to get even better for me because our latest sponsor, Trade Coffee, sells the freshest roasted and ethically sourced beans from America's best independent roasters. They ship free to you as often as you like, whole or ground. So you can still get the ground ones if that's your thing. It's just not for me. I prefer to do them myself. I spent a silly amount of money on a grinder. I didn't think that was me, but it was me. Trade's real coffee experts taste test over 400 roasts and use technology to match you to your ideal coffee based on the preferences and your brewing method. Take the coffee quiz to get started. Trade Coffee guarantees you'll love your first bag or they'll replace it for free. They won't be replacing my first bag because it's a banger. And I found the quiz good because they don't want to know every single detail. You know, sometimes people say, just take a short quiz and it's like 35 questions. Yeah. Nothing like that on Trade Coffee. And the coffee they matched me to for my first bag, a dark roast from Honduras. And I've got a medium dark roast blend that's coming from, that's comforting and rich from San Francisco. That just sounds great, doesn't it? You know, that's how you want your coffee.
Yes.
So, take a whiff of that.
Yeah, take it. It's great. Anyway, for our listeners right now, Trade Coffee is offering a total of $20 off your first 3 bags when you go to drinktrade.com/nodunks. To get started, take their quiz at drinktrade.com/nodunks and start your journey to your perfect cup. That's drinktrade.com/nodunks for $20 off your first 3 bags.
Later this week, one of my goals is to register for a marathon in the summer. That is my plan, which means then I'm going to start like really committing to training in a couple weeks, right after All-Star Weekend. And this time, when I try and train for this marathon, I'm not going to go overboard on running. Sounds weird, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll get my long runs in. We'll do some speed workouts for sure, maybe on the treadmill, maybe outside. But I want to like inject some more workouts into the actual training. Yoga.
Bar 3.
Maybe bar 3. But definitely the Peloton bike. That's what I'm thinking here. Because I want to keep things fresh. I think that will help me stay motivated in building up for the actual marathon later in the summer. Because you do the same thing over and over again. Even your bar 3.
I know.
You got to switch it up.
Yep.
And I think ever since being on the Peloton here in the Classic Factory for that pick and payoff, I could see why you guys were so hooked. JD and you know, Tass, I know you've got a version of it as well. I guess you have the treadmill. It's like, I'm
just moving my legs.
You're just like,
when I hear you talking about the Peloton bike, it feels
man.
good. Low impact.
Exactly. That's right. When I'm out on the road running, I mean, it's a lot of wear and tear on your knees.
Sure.
But you get on the bike, I got to get used to it from my butt. You know?
Get you a padded short.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
There's some bar classes too there. There's
okay.
all sorts of classes.
Exactly. There's new and exciting classes on the Peloton. Lots to explore. So that is what I'm going to do. It's going to help me stick to my goals. And keep my workouts interesting, which I like. Peloton has a workout for every goal, day, mood, de-stress from a long day with 30 minutes of strength and 20 minutes of cardio, or do a quick 15-minute total body class. So when they say total body, it's like I'm biking and then I'm like doing arm, like icky shuffle.
You're not on the bike.
Yes.
I don't think.
You can be.
Oh.
Yeah, but for a total body, I think they're implying, JD, that you're doing a little upper body, lower body.
Yeah, but they have
toes,
They
ankles.
have cycling boot camps where
do.
you jump on and off. The
And I saw you
Yes,
on
yes.
your bike, you had like little weights behind you.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
So
the-
then you're like, yeah.
I got the max too, 3 pounds.
Whoa. Oh, that's probably more than I can.
It's actually when you do it like repetitively while
it's
you're
tiring.
pedaling. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's not. I was like, this is gonna be a joke, and by the end of it, I was like, get me off this goddamn thing.
Yeah, wish I had the 2-pounders.
Exactly.
Stay motivated while having fun with bike workouts, yoga, meditation with this app as well, dance, cardio, and a whole lot more. Guys, visit One Peloton to learn more. That's OnePeloton.com. So the stream teamers coming through with some great answers to that last question about playoff performances that may be forgotten because they didn't go on to win the championship. One that really jumps out to me. I think it's a good answer. Joshish 2K. The Nuggets 2009 playoff run. Where they went to the conference finals.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's the season they traded Iverson for Billups.
Yeah, Billups was on that team.
And
yeah.
he was great in the
Yeah.
playoffs. They took care of business against the New Orleans Hornets, if you remember, in the Western Conference. I think they beat them in 5. They beat the Mavericks in 5, so they were rolling, and then ran into the Lakers, but put up a fight. I mean, there was a couple plays in some of those games, like in that series, that it's like, whoa, the Nuggets win that. They might go on to go to the finals. But instead, they lost in 6 games. But Melo played great. He averaged like 28 points per game, and like I said,
Seem to
Billups
remember
was awesome.
Melo actually played Kobe decently as well,
Right.
defensively in that series.
Yeah.
You know?
So I like that one. 09 Nuggets, because one that you don't like, we don't talk about all that
No.
much. So good stuff. Okay, let's get to next batch of questions here.
Hey-o.
Hey-o.
Inspired by Trey's disappointing ugly shirt. Why was it disappointing?
Because it wasn't
It was
that ugly.
too-
Wasn't ugly
It
enough.
yeah.
Wasn't ugly enough.
All
Didn't-
the shirts he's worn this week, I mean, you could argue they're not ugly on him. He just pulls them off.
Well, I thank you for saying that, but the reality of the story is that I moved like 6 months ago, so I went through my closet and threw out the truly ugly shirts. The ugly shirts I have now are just my ugliest shirts. You know, like if you have 100 shirts, I don't know. These would be numbers 98, 99, and 100. I ain't ever choosing them unless I'm forcing myself to choose.
Well, back to Anthony's email.
Yeah.
He writes, inspired by Trey's disappointing ugly shirt, when was a time you were 100% sure a player would hinder a team only to be proven wrong with their success? That's your pal from SoCal, Anthony. Then he adds a P.S. Trey, you could literally rock
there
anything.
you go.
So
Thanks, Anthony.
you can never wear an ugly shirt, according to Anthony.
That's my pal from SoCal.
Skeets, you got an answer to this?
I mean, not a good one. I thought this was such a difficult question to answer, and I could tell it was difficult because no one wanted to answer
Nobody
it.
was riding.
In the Classic Factory, because yeah, you got to try and think of like, I mean, the way I was looking at it, of course, like either through free agency or a trade, that I'm like, okay, that happened, and then I questioned it, right? I was like, I don't know. Is that a good fit? Is that going to work? Yeah. And then it ends up doing all right. And I'm sure I've said this. I know there are instances out there, but I guess one that maybe I wasn't that high on at the time was not that long ago, last year at the trade deadline, Trey Kirby's Bulls trading some juicy picks and a good young player in Wendell Carter Jr., of course, another junior in Otto Porter, to the Magic for, it was Al Farouk Amino, and then Vucevic. And, Vucevic was one of those players we had debated a lot. Is he only getting his numbers? Is he only sort of even getting all-star consideration, or at least making it there once or twice because he's on a shitty Magic team? And somebody's got to fall into a 2010. It's just going to happen to somebody. And so, and what's he going to really bring defensively? Like, that's not really his forte. And I remember Trey being high on it, and I do specifically remember saying, Trey, you're only loving this trade because it's your Bulls, and they're actually making a move to try and get like the best player in a deal, no doubt. And yeah, giving up a little bit of the future, maybe that's fine because they see something, turning here, and obviously what they would then do in free agency was huge in getting DeRozan and Caruso. But I said you only like him because it's your team. If this trade happened to 29 other teams, you would have been like, ugh. 2 first-round picks for Vucevic, like, get the hell out of here. Now, who knows if that's true?
Well, I said at the time, no, I love it, Skeets, because it's going to show that the Bulls are serious about winning, and they're going to be able to sign free agents in the offseason.
That's exactly what happened. So this is why it's my answer. I just remember going, I don't know. Vucevic, 2 first-round picks? But it's because of what they did after that. It's not like the Bulls season turned around really last year.
No, it didn't. It certainly didn't.
It didn't at all, but... yeah, if Vooch was what you had to acquire in the trade deadline deal to then get players like DeRozan and Caruso and stuff like that to join your team, then of course it's worked out pretty well for Chicago. So that's my answer. It's not that great, but
okay.
It's tough. This was a tough one.
Okay, Lee got an answer for this one?
Yeah, I mean, the part about thinking the guy would hinder the team doesn't quite fit for this answer, but it's a guy I didn't think was going to do much. Back to 2005, 2006, the Phoenix Suns, they got Tim Thomas basically off the scrap heap, and I thought,
nice.
Tim Thomas, like, what's he going to provide for that team?
Okay.
He was actually huge,
was big, yeah.
especially in the playoffs. In 20 games there, averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds off the bench, and shooting 49% from the field and 44% from 3. And also, Game 6 against the Lakers, hit that huge 3 that basically stopped them from being eliminated because the Lakers were up 3-1. Suns got it back to 3-3 and then blew them out in Game 7. But it was that Game 6 in LA. Tim Thomas hit that big 3 off a missed shot, I think, from Steve Nash. Came out to him. He sort of hesitated. Someone flew by him and he knocked it in. He was really good for them that entire series. So,
but it's not like, they got Tim Thomas and you were like, that's
the thing.
going to screw up everything.
I was just like, have him, because I think he hadn't played for the Bulls, and I don't know if they waived him or traded him, whatever, but it was like, yeah, sure, Tim Thomas. Turned out being a fantastic pickup for them.
Sure.
Good. Timmy Thomas. And a lot of those offensive rebounds, too, in that series where he just got extra possessions. Playing along Sean Marion.
Not bad.
Trey, who you got?
Well, I actually had Evan Mobley and Lauri Markkanen. I thought there's no way running 3 7-footers out there is going to work for the Cavs.
That's a good one.
But they're apparently very good, and it's totally working, and even Markkanen has been able to stick around in the rotation, which I'm honestly shocked by, but he's been all right. And Mobley, I think the key is that Mobley is so much better as a rookie than anybody could have expected.
Right.
Well, like, I thought, for me, I was like, Jaren Jackson Jr. will be what Evan Mobley is when Jaren Jackson Jr. was a rookie, and maybe someday Evan Mobley can get to Jaren Jackson Jr.'s level. And now it feels like it's completely flipped. But I saw a great answer in the stream team that I think is a great one. When Chris Paul joined the Rockets, and everybody's like, Chris Paul and James Harden, how could that ever work? And then they won 65 games.
Yeah. Yep.
One hamstring away from going to the finals, I think.
Quite possibly.
I do think
That's a good one.
That's a lot of games they won. 65.
That's a lot of games.
And just to go back to the Bulls, the DeRozan, acquisition during free agency, a lot of people questioned that. I can't remember us being like, I know you were very excited. I don't think the rest of us even were like, that'll never work. I guess there was concerns like defensively. It's like, especially you're adding him to Vucevic, but some people were like going crazy about that signing. What? You're giving him how much money and what's he going to do for this team? But we weren't doing that.
DeRozan was the perfect trade for us because we watched a lot of his Toronto career, obviously, and then actually kept tabs in San Antonio, and I don't think a lot of people did. But yeah, that has certainly turned out well for the Bulls, though I will say the concerns everybody had that they were going to be incredible on offense and can't stop anybody on defense, that's what they are right now. It's just because their best defenders are out, but like the concerns you had were like, oh, the offense is going to slow down in the fourth quarter. They're just going to go one-on-one all the time. That's what they do. And then they don't play defense. And then, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Vooch, he hasn't turned on the defense since he's been on Chicago. So, yeah, January, people were right about the Bulls. But the other 3 months, it's been
I saw this guy in the stand just screaming at Vucevic one day, just like, do something. It's like, it was one of those viral videos going around. I didn't see who the guy was, but
do anything.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's a Bull because we're returning to the hardwood tonight. The pickup run is back. I don't want to get hurt. So I'm playing Vooch style.
No defense.
No jumping.
Yeah.
No touching others. Stay back.
It's the gym, at least for the first couple of weeks, only an hour rental. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah,
too,
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Get your legs warm.
be careful out there, though.
Hope somebody's
We're old.
sweeping.
Yeah.
You know, that's when the slippies happen. You know, somebody's got to get out there and sweep that dust.
Did you have an answer to this one?
No, I'm positive when it comes to every trade. Don't listen to me when it comes to trades. I think both teams win every trade. Yeah, honestly, it was hard for me to come up with one where I was down and then it came back. I mean, I was not excited about Hassan Whiteside going to Utah. That's worked out. Andre Drummond going to Philly, sort of same thing. I mean, those should be low expectations, low bars because they're minimum type guys, but they have exceeded expectations greatly.
Next question here. I think it's me, right? Yeah. Hey, No Dunks. While heading to work this morning, I saw a Chevy Trax. May have been me. What is something you only know about because of a podcast? Please keep the Clippers sign-off clip. That's from Stella in Austin, Texas. So yeah, Stella, obviously, talking about me, the Chevy Trax. PJ Washington is my comparison to the Chevy Trax. Comes up a lot here on the show. Not an ad. It's not an ad. I drive Chevy Trax.
Chevy Trax.
Yeah, it should be. Chevy Trax, talk to me. But yeah, I guess Stella, they only know because of the podcast. So, you know, what else is something maybe only you're aware of because of the show we do? Or another podcast.
I was going to go with another podcast, and it's specifically a saying from another podcast. So Lee, play along with me here for a quick second. Tell me something that you eat that I probably wouldn't like anything.
Vegan sausages.
I don't want to yuck your yum, but that sounds disgusting.
Yuck your yum?
Yeah, I don't want to yuck your yum.
What is that from?
It's just a saying.
But from what podcast?
Well, Chris Hayes said it. But he just it's not like a segment or anything. He just said it.
Yeah, that's
so I don't know. It was about NFTs. It was a podcast on NFTs, and I don't know. I guess he was talking about in general about people's desire to have NFTs. And so he said, "I don't want to yuck your yum." It's a good, I think it's a good saying. That's a good saying.
It is good.
Oh, you've never heard Matt Austin say that?
No.
It's a Matt Austin saying as well.
I guess I don't listen to him.
He says a lot, man. Really? That guy yucks everybody's yum.
Yep.
But so break it down for me. I don't want to yuck your yum. That's like I don't want to burst your bubble.
Yeah, more like if you're like, oh, I'm training for a marathon. I'm like, I could train for a marathon in 6 weeks. I think it's dumb when people talk about running. I'm yucking your yum because you love talking about running, and I'm like,
oh, interesting.
Yuck.
Yeah, anything one person is high on, and the other person just,
so when
takes
you
your
start
legs
talking
out from
about the
under you.
Bulls on the next podcast, I can say, wait, how would I say it then in that case?
I don't want to yuck your yum.
Oh,
but the Raptors are good.
Right.
The Raptors are better than Bulls.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're learning.
Yuck your yum.
It's like it's 2 levels. I've found out about this. I found out about Yuck Your Yum through our podcast, but by way of another podcast.
Wow.
Okay. Do you have an answer to this one?
Yeah, well, I do actually. Yeah. When I came back from Calgary just recently, there was no in-flight entertainment on the plane.
No Mrs. Doubtfire at all.
I didn't know that until we were boarding and were sitting in our seats, right? No USA Today, couldn't do the crossword. I'd finished Chris Herring's book. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now for 4.5 hours? Opened up the podcast app, and this one popped up from Conan O'Brien and Quentin Tarantino did a podcast together.
Okay.
Yeah. Conan does it, but Quinton joined him.
Quentin and Conan.
Great podcast.
Yep.
Really difficult. I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys can go listen to it, particularly JD. At times, I'm like, I don't know which one's talking right now. They sound exactly the same. You know, high energy guys.
Yeah.
You know, similar sort of cadence in the way that they speak. Anyway, I found out about that. You know, Mad Magazine, right?
Yeah.
They no longer issue it.
Yeah, JD's, I think, talked about that before.
Yeah. The last issue ever created was designed by Quentin Tarantino. There you go.
Damn, that's crazy.
I know. It was crazy. It was crazy.
What?
I mean, Mad Magazine, probably a lot of people in the stream are going, I've never even heard of that
Right.
magazine. It was huge in the 80s and 90s, you know, making parodies out of current movies and things like that. And so Quentin Tarantino, of course, a big movie director, I guess. I can't remember exactly how he got to that point, but then I was like, oh, right. And I Googled it and checked it. It's true. It's legit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great podcast. About an hour and 20 minutes. Couple of just dudes being dudes. You know?
What's better than that? Okay.
I don't want to yuck your yum, but I preferred Cracked magazine myself.
There it is. Okay, now I understand it.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
Now I get
We've
it.
been doing a lot of yum yucking.
It's sort of like you're almost one-upping the person a little bit too. No, or just like, okay.
Almost like one downing. For me, it's anything about cricket. I've learned that.
That's my answer. That's my answer.
Yeah, like Test cricket. I know that's a thing. I know what a 6 is when you jack it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
There are different formats. One of my favorite things I learned was about a baggy cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cricket specialty.
Yeah.
Skeets, you had that
heard it here
awesome.
first. Have a great time.
You had that awesome. Cricket music. You had that awesome baggy cap. Got me looking for the Bulls one on eBay.
yeah.
One exists. But
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It looks the exact same, though a lot more worn. This one looks like it's been worn a lot. Favorite thing I've learned, though, a variety of cricketer names.
There we go.
Sachin Tendulkar,
Yes.
Shane Warne,
Yes.
Curly Ambrose.
Curtly Ambrose.
Hold on.
Did he just
King
yuck your
Curtly,
yum?
yeah.
I don't
Let
know.
me-
Yeah.
Curtly Ambrose.
yes.
Mark Waugh.
Yes.
Alan Border.
Oh,
Oh,
AB,
yeah.
I feel like Warney had a brother.
He did. No, no.
Waugh had a brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
twin. Yeah.
Tony.
No. Steve.
Steve.
Boy, yeah.
Was it Steve perchance?
That's all my cricketer names.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm so glad you brought that up because today
Oh, God.
is the anniversary of Alan Border, right? Against the West Indies in 1984. They were playing a day-nighter in the finals, right? Best of 3. And Alan Border, Australia in trouble early on. Captain Alan Border comes out. And the West Indies in the 80s were really intimidating. They had all these fast bowlers, these big, powerful guys. Early on, Alan Border gets one, smacks him right in the ribs.
Oh.
Yeah, could have broken his ribs. He's chewing on his helmet strap for the entire innings. Goes out, makes 127. Just the gutsiest performance from the captain. Incredible innings. His greatest one-day game ever. And I know that because I was sick from school. Mum had to come and pick me up. I was lying on the couch just watching the cricket all afternoon. It was incredible. So a sickie, AB gets 127. Australia win the first one-day final. It was great.
That was my answer as well. So next question, cricket for sure.
All right, moving on to another
Yeah.
one here. When we talk about disappointing players, we always tend to pick star players that are underperforming. How about role players? Who are some of the role players that you think are underperforming this year? Or players that you expected to have a good / breakout season, but they didn't. Mine is Terrence Mann. That's a good one. After that performance in the playoffs last year, and with Kawhi being out, I really thought Mann would have a breakout season and possibly win Most Improved Player. I even drafted him high on my fantasy team. Sorry about that, RJ and Perth. Maybe we had played a part in that too, because we talked a lot about Terrence Mann in our season previews, thinking that he would definitely chip in for that reason. Kawhi out, he's got to play lots of minutes, but even though they went to the conference final, they had that great little run. Terrence Mann has not been amazing. Skeets, do you have an answer for this one?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I'll start with Jordan Clarkson. He's a role player. Yeah, I know he won 6th Man of the Year, but very disappointing this season, especially after what he did last year. I think that's the glaring part of this. He just can't shoot. I mean, his whole role on a team is to like come in, fire away, and score, man. and he's not doing a great job at that. And especially this year with all the injuries to the Jazz, like you'd think like more minutes, maybe take on a little bit even more of a leadership role, and like sort of pull out a couple of these games, but that's not happening. He's shooting 40% on a lot of shots. Like he gets 14, 15 shots a game, 32% from three. So I had him on my list. Another guy that maybe I wasn't as high on, or I don't even think we were as high on as some people out there, and it's because he's a Lakers player, Talen Horton-Tucker.
Good one.
Wow. I mean, if you listen to Lakers fans, they were convinced this guy was going to be like a 10-time All-Star. And, ooh, it's real bad for him. He's averaging under 10 points per game. You know, again, shooting 40% from the floor, 25% from three. So I have him on my list. And then just one more. This guy starts a majority of his games. Only a second-year player, so there's a ton of time for him to turn it around. And Talen Horton-Tucker, I should say, is very young too. But Killian Hayes, in his second year here, I like what I've been seeing in games I watch of the Pistons. He's not bad defensively. Like, he goes at it on that end. He's a pretty good wing defender, especially for his age. But just like, he's shooting 34.8% from the field, and then 28% from three on obviously not a ton of attempts, but yeah, 6-4 from a guy that you drafted very high. He's only 20. I get it. I'm not saying, get him out of here and send him to Australia or something. But I just expected
Rookie of the Year if he comes back.
Get him out of here and send him to Australia.
I just expected a little bit more in the second year, on a team that is not expected to win a ton of games, and now you got some more talent around you and Cade and stuff like that. But those are my three guys in no particular order: Clarkson, Horton-Tucker, and Killian Hayes.
Yeah. Maybe if you recalibrate your expectations of Killian Hayes now that they have a number one guy in Cade, and he's just an off-the-ball player.
Yeah.
But he's got to be able to shoot.
You got to score in this league. Like it's almost like you either have to be the most elite defender to stay on the floor if you can't score, or you got to give him something. And he might turn into a totally normal, decent shooter. But after 65 games in the NBA so far over 2 years, I don't know if he's going to be an offensive threat. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I like him. I think it looks cool too.
Cool look.
Yeah, he's just got a unique look.
Good name.
Great name. International.
It's all there on paper,
Yeah, right.
Same with Talen Horton-Tucker. THT, great name.
Yeah.
Cool look, I think.
Yeah.
So if think about it, it wasn't even a year ago where they could have potentially, the rumor has it, they could have traded for Kyle Lowry if they were able, if they allowed THT to go. Then Kyle Lowry's their point guard probably today, and Russell Westbrook doesn't get traded for all that big bag of chips, and they still have KCP. Do they still have Caruso? Probably. He costs Lowry costs $12 million less than Russell Westbrook does. They can keep Caruso. Yeah, maybe a little overvalue there. I mean, he's obviously was injured as well to start this season.
I forget. He feels older to me. He
looks
feels like
older.
A guy that came into the league just at an older age.
Yeah.
He's an Illinois boy, right?
That's right.
But he's only 21, and it's only his third year. And
He looks older than 21. Looks
he does.
straight look.
He does.
Old man look.
But I don't know. Is he going to make an all-star team in his career?
I mean, no, but
Right.
from what we've seen so far. But
Well, the answer is no.
Andrew Wiggins was definitely a no up until this season. So things can happen, things can change. But it's tough.
Are you going to always use that now for any guy?
I mean, I have
Wiggins
to. I
made
have
an
to.
all-star
It's
team
like,
in his
listen,
eighth
look
or
at Wiggins, man. He was
He's scoring 24 per game, though. THT is not
no. He's 24 a game. Wiggins.
as high with the Wolves.
Oh
I'm saying.
yeah. Not this season.
No, he's 19 points, whatever.
Any other, disappointing role players? Because we do talk about the stars that usually disappoint, but I like this little twist to this. Who do you
Well, a
got,
guy who got a big bag in the offseason, Duncan Robinson, got the 5-year, $90 million contract extension.
Yes.
He's not having a good season.
Oh, but he has had a pretty damn good month.
Well, yeah, he's hot or cold. There's no in between with him. He's had 10 games, I believe, of 20 points or more. So look at me with my hand. Listen, Duncan Robinson.
You're lecturing him.
Tell me how it is, Vincent.
But he's taking exactly the same amount of shots as he did last season, but he's down 4% from the field and 4% from three-point range. And I sort of said this to you before last night. I think he hit his first shot, and that was it.
Yeah,
That's
he had
all
a
he gave.
bad game.
Now, he's a beautiful shooter, incredible mechanics, but it's just not falling for him. right now. So the Heat gave him that big money. They're going to expect him to live up to that because they're pretty much tapped out as far as their contracts are.
Don't you dare
Jimmy.
compare him to Davis Bertans. Don't you dare.
No, not yet. But listen, in the bubble, he was really good for them, really important. And so I think he earned that big bag. He might have to give some of that bag back.
Give me that big bag back.
I'm just laughing at how many times you like to say bag.
I love saying it. It's a great word. Yeah, but he doesn't have much in his bag other than the 3-point shot. So down, his minutes are down too. 27 a game this year, down from 31 last season. So I think that's probably a bit of it. I think Spoelstra's maybe like, he's not quite giving it to us this season.
And Spoelstra's like, well, we got 5 other guys that the casual fans never heard of, but yeah, they might give us.
And they're keeping Tyler Hero coming off the bench for now.
Mm-hmm.
Next season, I would say Taylor's almost a certain starter, and Duncan might be the guy coming off the bench.
Something to watch. Okay, so he's got Duncan Robinson disappointing right now so far. Though he's at least had a couple good weeks here. Yeah, but compared to the start of the season.
Games, yeah.
Still a beautiful shoulder.
I took it from a good month to a couple good weeks. He won't even give me that. A couple good games, according to Leo.
What about a couple of good podcasts? Maybe the problem is he started his own podcast.
Oh, distracted, eh?
Yeah, too many jobs. Just throwing it out
doing
there.
it out there.
Yeah,
Okay. There's a reason why I don't play in the NBA.
you got too many
I'm
jobs.
podcasting. That's what I'm-
Podcast.
what do you have, Trey?
Oh, call me Vincent because I'm gonna Van Gogh off here on Clint Capela. Hey, Clint, step your game up, Clint.
Oh.
I feel like Clint Capela, like nobody cares. The guy led the league in rebounding last season. Guess what? It's down 2 rebounds. Doesn't seem like much. His
Right.
field goal percentage, 59% last year, 58% this year. Who cares? But you don't feel Clint Capela the way you did last year when the Hawks went on their run, especially into the playoffs. He was great as a role guy. He was great as a rim protector. And this year, he just seems to have taken the tiniest step backwards. And the Hawks didn't have a ton of room to step backwards defensively. Now that Okongwu is healthy and has been playing for the past month, Clint Capela's still going to get the starts, but I feel like you're going to stick with Okongwu down the stretch of things because he's just more switchy and he's just a little bit quicker. He's got those strong legs and a little bit more of a future since he's a younger player. So Capela's diminished returns this year, I think, were a huge part of the reason the Hawks struggled in the first half of the season.
Love it. Do you have any additions here to this list?
No, Terrence Mann was my man.
That's
my man.
Your man. Okay. Well, let's hear from the stream team. Another perfect question to ask all of you watching or listening. You can let us know live right now in the YouTube comments or tweet at us at NoDunksInc. Role players. That's a specific part here. Role players who have disappointed you so far this season. When we come back, we'll wrap up. What are you laughing at? The way I said you? Yeah.
I liked it.
I like to talk to them like they're right here in the Classic Factory, you know? Really connect with you out there.
You leave your comment below. You.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Leave a comment. We'd appreciate it. We'll be right back after this break.
When I say AG, what's the first thing you think?
Aaron Gordon.
Nice, I had that on my list.
All good.
Yeah. Hello, ladies. How about Adriano Goldschmied denim? Anybody out there wear AG denim?
No.
You can try it. It's quality.
Is it? Nice.
Yeah, that's good. But the thing you should think of first when you hear AG, Athletic Greens.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, you knew it was coming. 1 scoop of Athletic Greens. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food, sourced superfoods, probiotics, and of course adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. Tons of people take a multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high-quality ingredients so that your body will actually absorb them. AG1 is a small micro-habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take great care of yourself because it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Especially heading into cold and flu season, it's just 1 single scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. Just AG1. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/nodunks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Again, That's athleticgreens.com/nodunks for that ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Let's talk about Just Egg, because Just Egg eliminates a lot of my egg problems. First, I never have to check if a Just Egg is broken before I put it in my grocery cart. I can never make the mistake of buying the wrong type of Just Eggs, according to my lovely partner, which I do. I buy the wrong eggs sometimes, and I never have to worry about how I pack Just Eggs in my grocery bag or if they're going to fall while I'm driving. Just Egg will never make me or my eggs feel crushed under the weight of expectations. Just Egg is a cholesterol-free, plant-based egg that will give you the most decadent quiches of your life, the fluffiest scrambles, and easiest egg sandwiches. It has about the same protein as a chicken egg and less saturated fat. Plus, Just Egg is packed with the cholesterol-lowering polyunsaturated fat. Chicken eggs wish they were this healthy. Oh, and because Just Egg comes from plants, you're also helping to save our planet. So that's nice if you're into the planet-saving thing. I've been dragging my recycling around the city of Atlanta for the last month. I am definitely into saving the world. Yeah, our recycling isn't being picked up, but I will not throw it in the trash. I like saving the world. Oh, and Just Eggs keep me from cutting my hands when I crush my eggshells for the compost. And if you notice here, I got a cut on my hand.
From an eggshell?
Actually, no, I'm lying. Not in this sense, but it was from dragging around my recycling. I was stuffing it in, put it inside a can, a soda can. Slicer.
Nice.
Anyway, so yeah, it'll save you. It'll save you. I've had some egg injuries. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm just too lazy to crush it with something else. I got my hand. Crush. But here we are. Just Egg. Really good eggs.
I sometimes think you do like composting like 10 hours out of the day.
Sounds like it.
That's all you're doing. All right, we're still stepping on the beach. A few more questions to get to. Keep sending them in. nodunks@theathletic.com. Considering on the surface that the Hawks are much improved without Cam Reddish, is there any other team who you think could improve by subtraction? That's from, by way of Twitter, actually. Tweet at us, @NoDunksInc. That's from @SoCal_Sully. That's not our pal from SoCal, though. We got a couple SoCal listeners. This is great. Okay, so Sully wants to know another team that you think could improve by subtraction, really, by trading a player, getting rid of somebody.
I actually got two for you. Both of them are the third guy around a notable duo. Marcus Smart on the Boston Celtics and Yusuf Nurkic on the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, the Blazers ship has kind of already sailed here. Lillard is likely out for the season. Maybe he'll come back if they're trying to make a run at the play-in at the end. Nurkic's contract is over at the end of this season. He's on a $12 million deal. Definitely feels like a player who could be traded at the deadline if they're looking to acquire something for an expiring contract. And Nurkic would probably help a lot of teams that need some help as a big guy. Like maybe he's more gettable than Myles Turner for the Bucks. I don't know. Bulls could use him. Who knows? But that's a guy you could get. And I think that the Blazers. Nurkic is good when he's good, and when he's hurt or when he's struggling, like, he looks really bad. And the team just looks really slow. So I think that the Blazers just need a little change, obviously, and I think that would be a good one for them to start. Marcus Smart is kind of a tougher question. He's got a long contract, signed through 2026, but he has been there around Tatum and Brown for a long time, and just like Nurkic, like, you kind of look at the third guy a lot. The third guy gets scapegoated all the time. It happened to Chris Bosh. It happens to me when I'm watching the Bulls and Vooch is the only guy I want to get mad at, you know? The third guy is a tough spot to be, but it feels like they need somebody a little bit more reliable as a point guard, and I know Marcus Smart doesn't like being told he's not a point guard because he's played point guard his whole life, but they just need a little bit more of a caretaker in that position, I would think. So Marcus Smart, another guy who would be helpful to other teams as well, and he does help the Celtics when he's good, but just like Nurkic, I think that once you keep trying the same three guys, you want to try something new eventually.
Yeah, the problem with Smart is he helps them so much defensively. And the Celtics have started to turn it around a little bit. I know they're a couple games above 500 and have played well over the last month or so, especially defensively, and Marcus Smart is a huge part of that. But I hear you from, like, the offensive side of things and, like, just a floor general they could really use at times, especially when they keep blowing big lead.
Exactly right.
Big lead. And I like the Nurkic one. Anyone else?
No, I mean, I was going to actually go on Marcus Smart as well because, only because, yes, he is very good, but he's their most valuable tradable asset. They're not going to trade, certainly Tatum, and I don't think they trade Jaylen Brown either. I think they like both of those guys. They're two really good, young, all-star caliber players. They probably miss out this season, at least one of them does anyway. But that sort of makes Smart the expendable one, where it's like he's got value. He's young enough. His contract is okay, like it's compared to NBA contracts are out there in the league right now. So if the Celtics want to improve, it's like take Smart, we'll throw in a draft pick, and maybe they can get a point guard in return, because I think that's probably their biggest hole right now.
And my answer is a little bit ironic because SoCal Sully mentions the Hawks. A little addition by subtraction, trading Cam Reddish to the Knicks, who I think need to subtract big time. And it's kind of similar in that they have too many guys, like the Hawks, too many Knicks on the dance floor here, and they absolutely have to reduce their wings. But it was their own doing in the offseason. They gave Evan Fournier a monster deal. They gave Alec Burks a big deal. And they've got guys waiting in the wings, like Quentin Grimes and like Emmanuel Quickley. And I think everyone will be happier if they just get some minutes. And unfortunately, I don't know how you trade a guy like Evan Fournier, but to me, he's the glaring one right here, right now. First season of his contract, that it would make a heck of a lot more sense to go a little bit younger, because they need a switch up. And I didn't even mention Cam Reddish getting into the rotation. Right. So yeah, you got Grimes waiting, you got Quickley waiting, you've got Reddish waiting, and you've got somebody like Obi Toppin waiting in the wings. Yeah, more youth for sure.
It's fun to try and think, like, of all the rosters, to try and find like another Cam Reddish or two out there. And what I mean by that is, like, by all accounts, he was like, come on, I want to be a star here in Atlanta. And they're like, no, we have our star. We need you to play a role. Let's try it out. And he's like, okay, fine. But then, he just gets out there and sort of chucks away. And they're like, let's get rid of this guy. He's sort of like a toxic sort of like dude to have around the squad. Like, the feel-good vibes are not there with him. That's obviously happening on other rosters. Does anyone come to mind where you could, like, I don't know, where they maybe are upset with their role on the particular team? Like, is Buddy Hield happy with his role in Sacramento?
He's
right
been
now?
liking tweets about him being traded for years now.
Right,
So,
right.
I think all of those guys in Sacramento are trying to play their way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that Cam Reddish Knox deal looks stranger and stranger by the day. It doesn't seem either team was really interested in, other than just like, you want to just trade? Sure.
But no. I don't think you can say that from the Hawks side of things. It's like they traded him because they're like, we don't want you around
I know,
anymore.
but they got the guy, Kevin Knox, is not playing. I know they got a first in return as well, but
that's okay.
I don't know. Yeah, sure. It doesn't really seem to have. Well, I guess the Hawks have gone on the win streak, but I don't think it's because of Cam Reddish not being
they
there.
say it is. Yeah. I don't know. I know that's a very difficult question. I put you on the spot there. I don't know if you guys, anyone else come to mind? That, like, the Kings are probably all of them one out of there, but
Seeing a lot of Westbrook in this dream team. Addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Westbrook or would you rather have nobody? That's a tough question.
Oh man.
Yeah, you'd rather have Westbrook. You would. If you're the Lakers, you don't trade down on talent, because where's that talent going to come from? If you're trading Westbrook, you hope you're getting somebody back.
Yeah,
so that would be a different roster. But yeah, Westbrook or what we have at point guard currently, who's going to take over? Austin Reeves going to jump in the point guard spot?
Very Bradley.
Very Bradley. That would be a very risky Bradley move for sure. Myles Turner, I guess we mentioned him off the top of the show, but he was asking. He came out and told The Athletic and told Bob Kravitz, "Hey, I need a new role." Hey, I don't know if it was Kravitz actually. Maybe it was an Amick.
Does he write for the Philly voice?
It was on The Athletic though. TheAthletic.com/No Dunks for your subscription. Moving on. Last question here.
Yeah.
Hey, No Dunks. I've been waiting for something monumental to happen in my day-to-day life so I can use that for a beach stepping question. Well, here it was. I was taking a shower, and like most normal people do, I too was listening to the No Dunks Winter Olympics episode on my phone. I ended up getting water in my speaker, and I could tell that the sound was now muffled, and I may have damaged my iPhone, potentially making this one of my most expensive mistakes ever. Wonder what happened to this iPhone. Doesn't seem like it was a definitive broken. But anyway, so here's my question. What would you consider one of your most expensive mistakes ever? That's from Hussein S. in Chicago.
Gotta be careful with the phone in the shower. That's what you gotta buy a very cheap Bluetooth speaker for the shower. Because I, too, love listening to podcasts while I'm getting ready. And lathering it up. But,
Lathering and listening.
like, I got a shelf in my shower. Yeah. Humble
time.
brag. Got some high shelves, too, because there's some nice high windows. So when the sun comes through.
J.E. shelves.
5 o'clock, it's nice. But I don't even risk putting my phone on those shelves where the water
come
is like almost
on.
no chance of. No.
iPhones these days are water resistant. I can't
Nope.
believe that happened
Get
to Hussein.
yourself a very, very cheap waterproof Bluetooth speaker. You're laughing.
I think his phone is fine because he didn't even.
How do you know that?
Because he said, I've been waiting for something monumental
Right,
to happen.
and then it happened, and he started
And then he
emailing us
didn't sell it.
immediately.
He didn't even sell it. He's been waiting this long, and he just said, I may have damaged my iPhone, potentially making this one of my most expensive mistakes. I think he was just yearning to send in a question.
Well, it's a
and
good
this was it.
question.
It was a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say my story again. You guys have heard it before. 2019, the Raptors go to the NBA championship Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
They're playing Game 6 at home to Milwaukee. My first opportunity to go. Tuesday night after they won Game 4, Game 6 was guaranteed. So I booked a ticket to Buffalo because I didn't want to pay full price to Toronto. I just find it hard. It's a flaw. It's a fatal flaw. I find it hard when a ticket's usually $300-$400. When it was up to 11, I just couldn't pull the trigger. So I bought one to Buffalo. Then my person who works at a flight at an airline told me that I could get a buddy pass, got in my ear, so I canceled the ticket to Buffalo. And then I sat at the airport on Saturday trying to be someone's buddy. Didn't work out. I finally bought a ticket in the afternoon. I couldn't get on that flight. What a gong show that was, because I didn't go up and check in at the gate because I was at the airport all day. It just didn't come to me to check in. So here we are. It was my most expensive mistake ever. Did it cost me money? No, it cost me $0, really. It cost me 10 hours at the airport and just emotional baggage, really.
And you miss an awesome Game 6 against
But then
the
I
Bucks
look back
in
and
the
I
finals.
think I'd probably be dead if I went. It was just a long day. I could have died.
Well, you would have been super hungover.
It was super hungover. It was an all-night. It was an all-nighter. I was already exhausted.
Yeah.
I just had a child like minutes earlier. It wasn't minutes earlier, but anyway, I'd still be alive, and I regret it to this day. I just should have gone to Buffalo, which would have been horrendous. Driving from Buffalo, it's not a bad drive actually. Cool story, bro. Anybody else? What would you consider one of your most expensive mistakes ever? Lee, you got one?
Well, mine's actually the same in the sense it's not a financial error. It's a life error I made. Not going to the 2006 World Cup in Germany. Australia made it through to the second round. We should have beaten the champions, Italy, in the first knockout stage. Penalty, Totti knocks it in. Bit of a tough call. Australia could have gone on and won the World Cup. They didn't. But they did come back and they beat Japan. They were down 1-0, came back and beat them 2-1. And then we made it through. We tied with Brazil in the second round, in the second game. And then we beat Croatia in the third. I could have been there for it. And I was like, I'm going. I just didn't go in the end. I can never go back now. See Timmy Cahill banging a couple
Timmy.
in Kaiserslautern. While we were down against Japan, the crowd was going wild. There was
I literally. I mean, this has been a long day. I think I fell asleep while you were telling this story.
there were inflatable kangaroos
so
flying around. I was like, that could have been me,
Kaiserslautern.
Yeah.
What a city.
You brought me back with Tim Cahill. As soon as I heard that,
But why didn't you go? He didn't say why.
This is the thing.
you go to everything.
I know.
The only event you said no to
I know.
ever?
Yeah.
No, see, because I was living with Hot Dog. That was his nickname. Eight Toes.
What?
Eight Toes is also known as Hot Dog.
What?
I was living with
What?
And
You can't gloss over this.
well, he polished off. I think it was 5 hot dogs at the Blue Jays game one day in like half an hour.
And
So
then from then on, his
he's
name was Hot Dog.
Yeah.
The guy with 8 toes.
Yeah. 8 toes and 5 dogs.
The ironic part is he only has 4 dogs per foot.
I was gonna say it's like when you're going to like a barbecue and it's like you got the hot dogs, they only come in 8 and the buns come in 6 or something like that.
He went early. Like for some reason we couldn't coordinate our times, and he went, and then I just didn't go, and I was like, I don't know why. I'm so disappointed. I've got the double hand teapot on myself for that one.
Yes.
You know, like, why didn't you go, man? What's wrong with you? But I think it was probably this. It was like, do I book a ticket for like a week and say, all right, and come back, or do I book it for like 3 weeks and hope Australia goes on and on and on? And I think I sort of was just like, all right, I'm just not going. They probably won't get out of that group stage anyway, and they did. And,
Well, how many hot dogs did Hot Dog eat at a soccer game?
at a soccer game.
Yeah, wait, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I wasn't there with him.
Hold on.
At a baseball game. It was the Blue Jays game.
No, that's not what I'm asking. Hold on. Maybe I did fall asleep.
Yeah.
What event were you just talking about that you didn't go to?
The soccer.
Yeah, okay, that's why I asked you
Yeah.
how many hot dogs Hot Dog had at the soccer game.
I don't know. I wasn't there with him.
You don't talk to him? You didn't talk to him?
I didn't say, hey, how many dogs are you dropping out?
Why not? You just seen him eat 5 at a baseball game.
That was
And
like
you nicknamed him Hot
that was the
Dog.
high water mark. I was like, he's not getting more than 5.
But I was taking crazy pills for a second.
I mean, it would have been a sausage at a German game.
Yeah.
In Germany.
Yeah, he's probably not putting down 5 of those. They're bigger, thicker,
3 max.
bigger girth.
You're the bratwurst, man.
Trey, do you have any expensive mistakes to take us home here?
Yeah, Hussein. One time I washed my phone in a washing machine. That was dumb.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Broke?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I even tried putting it in rice afterwards.
yeah.
I went through the full cycle. Yeah, if I throw it in rice here for 20 minutes, it should be fine. Didn't work, but I made a semi-expensive mistake yesterday. When I went to Publix.
Tell this story.
Yeah, not the most expensive, but I went to Publix and I went to the deli counter and I ordered a full foot-long sub. And what I received was 4 foot-long subs, and they were some thick boys. We're talking, I don't know, 4-inch diameter on these subs. Yeah, I don't know what was happening. I had to ask her to repeat every word she was saying. She asked me to repeat every word I was saying. So when I ordered my 4 foot-long subs, she turned around. She's like, all right, I got to get the bread ready. I'm like, huh. Now that's interesting. That's interesting you say that because I see a lot of loaves right here. She comes back. She sets 4 out. I'm like, huh. Okay, I guess you're just getting ready for the next people. So I was like, yeah, an Italian. Do me an Italian.
But
I'm feeling good.
You saw her putting whatever you were saying on all 4 of the subs.
My first, the first time I knew something was wrong was when she got out the large mayo slatherer. Slathered one up. I was like, nice. That's a lot of mayo.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And then she just kept doing it. I'm like, huh. Guess she must have an order in for somebody else she's prepping here.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
And when she's like, you want regular or boar's head meat? And I said, boar's head, please. She slapped. I was like, uh-oh. But I couldn't stop her.
Yeah.
I was like, you already got out the
Too
meats?
deep.
Once you see the meats come out, that was a problem. I was like, you probably can't put those meats back. I know somebody will eat these over the course of days.
Well, this is the crazy part to me because I asked you had it paid, obviously, for 4 subs.
No.
So even because there's like this confusion, everybody's got masks on, that's great. I'm sure she can't hear you, you can't hear her, whatever. She makes 4 subs. You only wanted 1 sub. I can't believe you just didn't go, okay, well, I'm only taking
I only
one of
want
those
one.
and I'm only buying 1 of those. And you're like,
I could have said that. I certainly could have said
Yeah.
that, but Skeets, as soon as I saw her putting the 4 slabs of meat down, and then I turned around and like slowly but surely the line is like just getting bigger and bigger as one man is making 4 identical
you were
sandwiches.
holding up the line, yeah.
Oh, I was holding up the line big time. I was like, I just got to take these. I got 4 subs now. I don't know what I'm going to do. But it ended up working out okay. Those 4 subs fed 2 families of 4. 2 meals yesterday. I felt like Jesus a little bit with the loaves and the fish.
Yeah.
Just a few loaves and fish, but he fed 5,000 people. I felt the same with my Italian subs.
like 4 public Italian subs.
I even messaged you guys from the place. I was like, disaster order at Publix. Hope y'all like Italian sandwiches.
I've just shared a great clip in the YouTube, in our Slack channel here of the two Ronnies who do a great skit about that. It's called The Four Candles. You say, is it 4 candles or 4 candles? And they just go on and on and on about four candles and 4 candles. It's great. It's all that stuff that trades just say. You watch it, you're going to love it.
Yeah, okay, because I'm not getting what you're saying right now. I'm not getting the joke. I can't wait to watch
Yuck is yum. Yuck is yum. Yuck is yum. He's loving it.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
two Ronnies.
Fall. Are you saying fall candles?
No.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
So
what are you
what's the
saying?
alternative?
I'm saying
4?
4 candles.
4 candles.
Fork handles.
4 candles. But you say it sounds identical. Yeah.
Oh, you wait till you see the two
there's
Ronnies
3.
say it. That's great.
You could have 3 Ronnies. You could have one say fall candle.
You know, it's better than 2 Ronnies. Ronnies? Ronnies. Okay, let's call it there. That was hopefully another classic edition of Beach Steppin'. It's been a while. We got to do this a little more often. Oh my God, your questions are so good. Gets us off on all these crazy tangents. Email them in, nodunks@theathletic.com. Tweet them in @nodunksink. Leave them in the YouTube comments. Wherever you want, get your cues to us here at No Dunks. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern live to break down all of tonight's games. So we'll see you then. Clipper Bros?
Sure.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and leave a comment below and tell us how many hot dogs you've eaten in one sitting, one game. The most hot dogs you've ever eaten. I wonder if Kobayashi's watching.
Only at a soccer game, though.
Those the soccer.
Soccer hot dogs only.
Or back, come on, baseball counts. Baseball counts.
All right.
Joey Chestnut, did you do it? How many hot dogs?
Do it. Do it, Joey.
Joey Chestnut's eaten the most in the world.
When you
right?
go to a baseball game in late September, do you call hot dogs fall candles? Embrace the name, people.